All right. Hello, everybody. For any of you using this Wealth Tracker beta, I'm putting this video together because I realized that as simple as it really is, it's a little more complicated to explain how to use this over email. So I am doing this for everybody. All right. So here at the bottom, you can see my cursor. These are the 7 tabs that are in the model. So this main menu, this is just a regular main menu. It has a link that goes to each of the tabs. So going forward, if you save it here and open it up, you can always click on any of these and it'll take you to the tab you want to go to. I'm going to start off with down here, the budget. So what I want you guys to do as you start using this, to start here at the budget, so you can click here. Now this is what your budget and a regular expense tracking tab will be. As you see here on the left, this whole column with the different colors, this is the way as I in finance think about my expenses, my income, and really how to build a budget. All right, so I have some placeholders in here, in case you have multiple people in your family that are generating income. So I just have John Doe, Patty, and other income. Could be a side business, could be anything else that's not your normal income. So what I want you to start off with is just put in, and this is monthly by the way, so all of these numbers, expenses, income, are on a monthly basis. So for income, if you make $1,000 a month, you would put 1,000 in here. If your wife made 2,000, you put 2,000 here, and if you have, I don't know, an eBay side business, you put 500 here. So this then shows you total per month what you guys are bringing in. Now below, in this orange, this will be your monthly bills. So I have quite a few placeholders in here as well. You can change any of these as well as any of these. Just change the type. Actually it doesn't really matter. So yeah, just change the wording you want to use. So for me, like I have rent, but I could change this to anything I want. But the point of this section is these are automatic deductions per se, right? So what you want to put here, anything that you're gonna have a bill that you have to pay. So rent, electric, even though electric might change. I try to put something in, and I would put something here that's like an average you would use. But these are things that they're not necessarily expenses that you can budget, because they're categories that no matter what, month in and month out, you will be incurring no matter what. It's not up to you. So in here, I pay for my iPhone. I have an installment plan because I'm on the Apple upgrade program. So I add that. I know what that is every month. Car loans, student loans, insurance, gym, all kinds of stuff. So anything there. Then of course this will total this up for you. Now if you need more rows than what's already built in, let me know and I can edit this for you. That's something going forward I want to be able to change, but right now if you go below, you're going to throw off the model, so don't add any more rows. And as well, if you have less than you need, if you only have 4 categories, then you can just delete these out and nothing will be wrong with it. So in this example, this then shows your total per month automatic deductions. So for this example, we bring in 3,500. Our automatics are 1,104, which means our subtotal for everything else in the month is 2,396. Now down here, this is the next section. So what I like to do is those are things that automatically are going to get deducted. You can't really control those on a normal basis. This next section is savings and investments. Now I just put something simple. Again, if you want to add more, just let me know. But I have a savings account, so this is just what you would want, what your goal is every month to deposit into your savings. And I put investing in Robinhood. I'll talk about later a tool I use for stocks. So this is the allotted amount that you want to budget to invest every month. So I would set these up with a goal and try to stick to this as best you can. But what this then does is then again, from above, what you have left to spend throughout the month, this proactively pulls that amount out to give you what you have left to spend for all types of categories. But the way I like to think about it is to make sure you put this in the top section, right? So you want to make sure you're pulling out what you want to save and what you want to invest before you get into quote unquote your fun money, because from a financial perspective, most people will not be able to go back and retroactively save or invest if they don't put it aside first. So that's kind of the point of that. So then down here are your true budget categories. Now, like the other sections, if you need more rows, let me know. But I just put a bunch of ones that I've used in the past for me and Kelly. And this basically shows for all the other types of expenses throughout the month, you have $19.46 that you can spend to come out even. Now, you can mess around with these and you can change this to like $150. And then below, you'll see what you have left over becomes negative. So now I'm negative 19. So to make my budget even, I would need to drop out $19. So I change it to 131. Now you can see we're even. So you can mess with all of these to figure out what a realistic budget would be, as well as to figure out what you'll have left over. And you want to get this as close to zero as possible. Now, again, if you have a ton of left over, you can always leave that and say, you know, if you go over in a couple categories of your budget, then you know you'll be okay by that dollar value. Or if you really want to get good at this, what I like to do, if you think you have money left over, go back up here in your savings or investment and put that money in there. So, for example, if I was like entertainment $225, that's a lot. I can just spend $200 and I'll be good. I'll have $25 left over. Go up here, say instead of $150, now I'm going to invest $175. So now again, you're even, but now overall you're going to be saving more a month. So that's the thought behind that. So you want to set that first, and because what this does, this then gets carried into other parts of the model that determine your budget. So now that I made these changes and I feel comfortable, if you look over here, this is going to be like your monthly tracker, this section right here. So I'm going to do it. So pay attention to this budget column. So this budget column is getting pulled from over here on the left. Now when I hit update table, actually let's go down. Yeah, so let's look below. We had, what did I change? Entertainment. So if you see entertainment before was 225, I'm going to hit update table, change to 200. So that'll update your budget. Now, that's set. This going forward, I'll explain, will be automatically updated. This section above will need to be manually updated. So throughout the month, when John Doe gets his first paycheck, so this will be zero like in March. So you got your first paycheck of $500 if you're bi-weekly. You gotta add that in. So this puts the decisions back on you to make sure you're updating this periodically, making sure you're keeping up on your expenses, but also your income, right? So this section is going to be manually updated. So when you get paid, whoever it is or whatever income, make sure you put this in here. This will show you how much you've made so far this month. This income that's bolded will automatically get updated. As you move money into savings, update this. If you invest some money, update this, and then I'll explain this in a second, actually. So then, okay, so that is what this is the dashboard you'll be able to look at all the time. Now, when expenses are incurred, what are you going to do? You're going to go over here, the expense inputs of the second tab. So I'm just going to give you an example. So okay, today I'm going to lunch. So what's today? Today's May 11th, 2017. I'm going to say, and this can be whatever you. This right here, you can change these to something different if you want. Actually, I wouldn't really change anything. If you want to change the wording, you can, but make sure you leave the amount because there's certain formulas in here. So if you would like description, I put description, but I'm gonna put like, let's see, I would put here like the place like where I'm spending the money. So maybe I'd put like, I don't know, oh sorry, wrong place. I'd put like Chick-fil-A. How much did I spend? I spent $10. Category. Now, if you want to change your categories, you can do that in the budget, and that's what I'm talking about down here. If you make a change to any of these, it'll retroactively work through the model and change this, because now there's a drop down, right? And so these are all coming from the budget tab you already set up. So for me, these are all the budgets that I have set up in here. So our budget categories I have set up in here. I would go down here. I would consider this food. So category food, month, this is easy, right? This is already set up, but it's going to be in May. Any notes like lunch with dad. I'd put something like that, right? Just if you want to remind yourself of what that expense was going forward. So all you have to do is simply hit this button, add expense, it adds it to the model. Now to check if it worked, you can go back to your budget tab. Now you see you have this table here. Hit update table. Boom. May was added You go down, food was also added. So now you can see so far this month you've spent $10 on food. And of course you're gonna have many different types of expenses throughout the month. So every time you add you add things. So if you come in here once a week, added all your expenses you had. Whenever you hit refresh the table once, it'll update all of these, right? And what this does then, it's gonna essentially pull all this information you had above to show what you made out of that, what you saved, like we did before, your subtotal, what's left over. Then it's going to work through. Now down here combines your monthly, I call them automatics, and your categories, right? So now you're going to essentially see out of all these expense categories that you could possibly use, what your break-even point was, right? So this is saying, so far we made $3,500 after our $300 we've saved and invested so far. We had $3,200 left over. We've only spent $10 on food so far, so we have $3,190 left, quote unquote, to like break even for the month. So if you go back to your expense, so that's the automated way. That's how I want to make this automated, to do it like that. Now, if you ever have a question like, did I add that to my expense tracker? Did I, for whatever reason, you can go below. So just scroll down. Now, this automatically pulls from the budget that you already had set up. And then your expenses will start automatically getting added down here in the blue, and they'll just keep building down. And it'll be a system where every time you add an expense, what's in 71 right now will go down a row. So your oldest expense will be at the bottom, your newest will be at the top. That is how you can go back and see if there's any questions. Now, if you go back on your budget, and for example, you're in May. Now, it's kind of a small example now, but going forward, if it's October, November, and you're like, wait a minute, where did I spend this $10 in food in May? The nice thing about a pivot, this is called a pivot table, is you can, where this $10 value is, double click. It'll make a new tab for you, but it'll break out exactly what that was that you added. So now I can go back and see, and out throughout the month, it could be down here, and it'll have all the different places I went. And it'll pull out this, because you clicked on the food row, it'll pull out food in May and everything dollar value that you added. So that's kind of a cool little tip, a little trick. I'm going to delete this out if I don't need it, because you don't need it. But that's just a way you can go back and see kind of like everything that rolled up into the food category. Okay, so that is simplicity, how you add expenses, how you set the budget. Another tab in here, down here, the green one, calendar. Now this one I like to use. This is something it will not affect the rest of the model. For me, I'm a visual person, so I really like to see when certain things are due. Now, how this works is you're just gonna add in what is due on the date. So these are things that I manually have to go pay, right? I make them red so I can see, and there's a calendar for every day of this year if you scroll down. I make those red. Green, I highlight the whole cell. Let's go up here, home, this little drop down, this bucket right here. These are pay days, so I like to set those up in advance. For me, I like to be able to see, what money is going out, so I can see I have to pay, in this first 2 weeks, I have to pay a rent bill, I have to pay an IPL bill, and then, but I know I'm going to get paid on this day. So you can kind of manage your cash flow visually a little better. But again, if you don't really care to use that, you don't have to. I just think it's an added tool. I'm going to show you two other things before I show you this Wealth Tracker tab, because this Wealth Tracker tab is kind of the bread and butter of the high-level view I want you guys to be able to use. But first I'm going to show you this stock tracker. Okay, so this, if you just want to start dabbling in stocks, you want to start watching some stocks, but you don't care to have like a daily app like I use, which I'll explain in a different video at a different time. This is a cool way to simply, quickly keep an eye on some stocks. So I installed a VBA, which is like a code that pulls from the internet out of this file. So you can see over here, all you're going to do is touch this blue column. So I have quite a few stocks in here just as an example. And the rest of this updates when you type in a new stock. So I'm over here in row 10. Snapchat is the big one today. They had a really rough day. So I will put, so you gotta go to Yahoo or Google and figure out what the stock ticker is, but I'll just put in Snap. And so that's what their stock ticker is on the New York Stock Exchange. You hit enter, boom. Updates the whole row. It tells you what the name, the true name of the stock is, the current price it's selling at, what today's high is. For some reason, today's low is not pulling for a lot of these, so that's something I'll work on for version 2. what the dollar value change was for the day, and 52 weeks of the last year, what the highest stock price has been and the lowest. So again, this is very high level information, but I just thought it'd be something cool to add to this model, so you guys can start looking at stocks as well. Now, the next tab, loans. So I added these two. This is something I built in the past when I was just curious about loans that I had, loans that, or when I bought my truck, as well as just curious about, different loan situations. So again, same thing you're gonna do here is just input in the blue. So this one over here is, let's say you are going to, and now if there's another, well, you can work this backwards, but just use this the way I'm going to explain it first. So this is if you're thinking about, getting a mortgage, getting a car loan, anything that you want to plan ahead. So what this is in here, you put in the loan amount. So I just put in here, for an example, $20,000. If you need to figure out the interest rate, so I put 2.99. The amount of months, so a 4-year loan would be 48 months, right? So 12 months in a year times 4, 48 months. So this would then calculate what your monthly payment will do. So don't touch the green one, it's got a formula in it, but you can mess with any of these blue ones. And then that'll then show you, boom, with this information, this will show you that per month you're gonna pay $442.60. And down here, this is kind of a calendar it auto creates. So it'll show you what day, I just started on like the 12th, so it's saying like the date you have to make a payment, what your starting balance is. On that first payment, the amount of interest that is being paid, $49.83, the actual amount of principal, which is the base loan amount that you owe. So out of the, $442.60 you're paying a month, $392 of that from the principal is getting paid, but the other $49 is actually interest. So just an interesting thing, I think, to keep an eye on. And it really shows you truly like what every month you're paying, and then it shows you your new ending balance. And then down here, if you follow the calendar down, it'll show you in red over here the month that you finally will pay this loan off. So kind of a cool, easy trick tool to use. Now the one to the right. So this one I threw in here because I built it when I bought my truck. But same thing, you're only gonna touch the blue. So this is if you have a car and you want to trade it in for a different car, you would need to find your interest rate on your new loan, the amount of months you want your new loan to be, the trade-in value for the vehicle, your current vehicle. So for me, I sold my Jeep, so you would want to put the amount they're offering you here. This would be the price of the new vehicle that you are purchasing. This would then show you a profit or loss. And I would usually, I kept it as profit because most of the time you wouldn't want to trade in a car if you're going to lose money on the trade-in. So this will show you net what you are going to make on your car. So this would be how much you still owe on your current car, and then if you want to add a down payment to your new car, you put it in here. So this would then calculate for you what your new loan amount will be after taxes. It'll show you what your new monthly payment will be on this new loan. It'll show you, like I said, the trade-in profit, as well as what the transactional tax would be on the buying the new car. And again, this will then show you down here when it nets to zero. This shows you the month that you will pay it off. So again, another cool way to look at loans. But this one to the right is specifically for trading in a vehicle. All right. So now to the bread and butter. Wealth Tracker tab. Okay, so this one is all manual, but for me, this is why I broke away from using the automated services like Mint and some of these other automated ones. Because number one, I didn't feel real comfortable, even though it's a company that owns TurboTax. They already have a ton of your tax information. I didn't really love the fact that they were constantly looking in soft polling, but just pulling from your account to look at this info. So what I want you to do is try, and I'm not even real great at this, commit to around a certain day a month you're going to try to update this. So for April, in this example, this person updated it on the 14th. I always just write it here below the month. So you're going to go, and again, this stuff you can also change. So you can change the wording you want here, but I kept, these are like banks and credit cards, so it's all kind of under the same umbrella usually. And if you need to make changes to this, just let me know and I can help you. These are all your investment accounts. These would be like retirement type accounts, and I added a bunch here in my example because Kelly and I both have some of these, so I added both, and then loan information. So what this is going to do is it's going to take all your net assets, It's going to also add in investments, retirement accounts, because those truly are still your money. In worst case scenario, you could always pull that out if you need to. And then it's going to net out any debt you have to show you what your true net worth is. And the whole point of this is over time, month after month, your hope should always be, unless there are situations where maybe you're buying a car or you're getting your first home, like that's obviously going to have a big swing. But the point is, you want to always see your net wealth getting better and better and better. And if it's negative, your hope is that eventually you get to a break-even point and you start having a positive net worth, especially for you guys that are, in my situation where you're only a few years out of college. I think a lot of people's hope is to eventually get debt-free from student loans, from whatever it may be, and get net positive. So you're going to go through here and try to do it around the same date every month. And the reason for that is, when you have things like rent and paydays and all these things that are on similar timing every month, if you start updating this the first of the month and then the middle of the month, the following month, you could have something swing in a direction that over the month period you actually aren't seeing a major change, but it just looks that way because of the date you're updating. So in this example, this person, you go in, you look at your checking account, put your balance, your savings account, and then what's currently owed on your credit card. Gives you a subtotal. Then this also gives you a checks and balances to go and look, keep an eye on your retirement accounts, because most people, they literally don't ever look at the stuff. And not that it's super important, and not that you're going to make major changes to it every month, but in my opinion, it's just a great idea to at least glance at it. Log in, look at your account, make sure you're still in line with what your goals are, and move on. So here, you just go, and I have a few different investment accounts, so I would go and check each of the balances in each of those. Then I would go, so down here, the purple are your retirement quote-unquote accounts. And I have in here, examples like both Kelly and I like having a 401k. We have HSAs, which are like health savings accounts. That's not always common. And then like stock options, all these things. So how many, you can delete things out of here if you don't need them, but I just put extra to make sure people had everything they needed. Again, you're just logging in, checking the account balances to make sure, nothing major's happened, especially if you don't check on the stock market a lot. Did your 401k take a huge hit this month and you just had no idea and you could have moved some stuff around? So just update all those, and then go, also, it's a good idea to just keep an eye on your loans, right? So go in, check on your loans, what your balance is. The math then nets out what right here, your current change in wealth is from the previous month. Now, this gray column, which you'll see in between each one, then shows for every item what the net change was. So for this, this hypothetical situation, this guy owed $50,000 in student loans the last month. Somehow, he made a huge payment of $41,000 over the month. So now he only owes $9,000, and he dropped his student loan amount by 82% month over month. So a lot of this stuff is just a quick glance, and you can see the percent changes month over month. I just like to see that. I like numbers, and I like to see like how much things are changing. And then down here, so this is where you can visually see it all, right? So it'll update your wealth after you input all of the different information. It'll update your net worth total. And then this wealth tracker will then visually show you month over month how much you're worth. And the goal is, most people our age or whatever age you are that are using this, but if you're, similar to me, a few years out of college, you're probably going to be somewhere in this net negative. But the goal is, over time, you're growing, you're getting, closer and closer to break even, and then getting net positive. So that is the wealth tracker. And this for me is kind of the bread and butter, the where it all comes together for you to see really how you're doing financially. So back to the main menu. So that's it. I know that's kind of turned into a long video, but I really wanted to make sure everyone understands. If you have any questions, please feel free. Obviously, you guys all know me, so get a hold of me. Let me know. I can help make any changes to this that you need. But thanks for using it, and please let me know what you think. All right. Thank you.